This summer 2016 has really embodied the 90s. We had a Ghostbusters movie, we had a Jump into Holograms movie, which wasn't that good. X-Men was trending again, Sonic is cool again, and it's Mini NES versus Mini Genesis. Anyway, welcome to my channel. My name is Tolu and this is Snapback. Basically a channel that looks back on the news of the month, and it also makes for great clickbait. Sorry for the long intro. Yesterday we saw the Olympics end in the best ending ceremony for the weirdest Olympics ever. Literally, the Prime Minister of Japan came out dressed like Mario, and everyone went ballistic. But the end of the Olympics also marked the end of summer. So let's look back on all the best stories of this month. YouTubers are going to North Korea. In our first story reflection, we had a YouTuber who took a vacation, and this is very interesting because big YouTubers are both creative and stacked with paper, and they go to pretty nice places, from LA to Tokyo to the Caribbean to France. So famous YouTuber and vlogger Louis Cole decided that he wanted to reward his hard work and have a nice getaway for him and his day ones. So where in the world do you think he ended up? Don't sweat yourself. It was North Korea. This is basically Dennis Rodman all over again. Obviously, a lot of people were upset. The media criticized him with the belief that North Korea had supposedly paid for his trip and was using it for propaganda. Anyway, after the media's response, he responded to criticism by saying, "I'm trying to focus on the positive in the country and combat the purely negative image we see in the media." But people still weren't satisfied with this comment, because we all know what's going on behind the scenes. And in fact, I think Philly D says it best with the house analogy. Now looking back at the success of Pokemon Go, we all know it hasn't come without its problems. There have been car wrecks, robberies, discoveries of dead bodies, but probably some of the biggest problems Pokemon Go is causing takes place in both Bolivia and Taiwan. In Bolivia, Pokemon Go is causing curious players to wander into the forest, which doesn't sound so bad until you realize that they happen to be filled with mines from the 1990s conflicts. So now Pokemon Go can not only get you robbed, but if you're not careful, it can also get you blown up. And in Taiwan, Time claims that Pokemon Go may have just shown us the end of the world with a video of thousands of Taiwanese people swarming an intersection in hope of getting a Snorlax. Okay, really? I mean, this fat thing? I mean, I could better understand if it were like a Mewtwo or a Lucario, but this Pokemon can't even stand up. It's like the image of unhealthy obesity. I don't understand people anymore. Man, I just feel bad for the elderly people who are just watching all these kids swarm in thousands looking for a Snorlax, and you're like, what's a Snorlax? We have to get out of here. And man, it's just a bad image in my head. Especially, in my opinion, a Snorlax is worthless. I mean, in Pokemon Go, it's rare, but like, it's not a cool Pokemon. Anyway, switching over to our biggest story and reflection of this month and the Olympics, we see an Olympic athlete go from a valiant hero to a lying zero. On Sunday, Ryan Lochte claimed that he and 4 other Olympic athletes were robbed at gunpoint by robbers impersonating police as they were returning to the Olympic Village. In an interview with Mr. Big Balls, he stated, "We got pulled over in the taxi, and these guys came out with a badge, a police badge. No lights, no nothing, just a police badge, and they pulled us over. They pulled out their guns, they told the other swimmers to get down on the ground. They got down on the ground, but I refused. I was like, we didn't do anything wrong, so I'm not getting down on the ground. And then they pulled out his gun, he cocked it, put it to my forehead, and he said, 'Get down.' And I put my hands up and I was like, whatever. He took our money, he took my wallet, he left my cell phone, and he left my credentials. I think he left out the part where these imaginary robbers stole his dignity." But of course, police obviously weren't convinced and became suspicious due to security footage and witness accounts. So a local judge ordered the swimmers to hand over their passports so they couldn't leave the country. But it was too late because our courageous hero had already fled for the States. The other swimmers, however, weren't as lucky and ended up caught by Rio's Po as they tried to follow in the footsteps of their courageous leader. After all of this had gone down, the police in their statement claimed, "After watching video and hearing testimony from witnesses, the Brazilian police have determined the incident involved damage to a bathroom door at a gas station, where the swimmer stopped in the early hours Sunday on the way back to the athlete's village from a party. At the gas station, the swimmers went to the bathroom. In the process, according to an account by investigators, damage was done to the bathroom door, and a discussion ensued with the manager and a security guard. Someone at the gas station called the police, but by the time the police car arrived at the scene, the swimmers were gone. Witnesses, including a person who offered to translate for the swimmers, said that they paid money to the manager before leaving." It looks like the Olympic Committee wasn't so happy with Ryan spitting in their coffee, and are now looking into disciplinary action. So we may not see Ryan in Tokyo, but we won't see Phelps either, so I guess it's a win-lose? In an NBC interview, Ryan called his behavior immature. You don't need to tell us that, man. You're a 32-year-old man with a midlife crisis. You should have just let Phelps hold the spotlight. Ryan then shared an apology on Facebook, but it was pretty shallow and probably not written by him. My thoughts on this situation come in the form of this awesome tweet, saying, Gabby Douglas got more shade for not putting her hands up during the Pledge of Allegiance than Ryan Lochte is for being a liar and un-American. Please preach. Now escaping the drama from the Olympics, this month in Awesome I should say, a new map was shown for Overwatch at Gamescom called the Eichenwalde? I probably butchered that name. Anyway, it's a beautiful map set in the German countryside. Also, a new short was recently released called The Last Bastion, which shows that planetarians can still love a robot no matter how many trees they shoot down. And by planetarians, I mean birds. Back in Olympic news, even though I said I'd escape it, you may already know that the US Olympic gymnastics team got a surprise visit from Running Man Zack himself, which is what I will forever call him after his visit on The Tonight Show. He took a picture with the newly championed gold medalist Simone Biles. She believes she was just taking a photo with him when she actually got a smooch on the cheek. On Twitter, Simone stated, "Just call me Miss Effron already." Alright, Mrs. Effron, let's just hope your Brazilian boyfriend is okay with that. Speaking of kisses, it looks like Ricegum got his first kiss from Lele Pons, a famous person on Vine, which you should probably go check out. And if you watch the video, oh my goodness, Lele has no chill. In our last reflection of the day, we have No Man's Sky, which ever since its release has raised a few eyebrows. The spokesman of the game said in one interview before the game's release that No Man's Sky would have multiplayer, but the chances of two players interacting were unlikely. When the game came out just a little later, the internet disproved that statement by having two players meet at the same time in the same place. On top of that, many found that the game covered up what used to say online multiplayer with a different sticker. This has upset many fans, including Pyrocynical, who decided to make two very interesting rants on the game. You should probably check that out. Anyway, that's it for the news. Thank you for checking out my channel, and make sure you subscribe for news, because whenever you need an icebreaker, we're here for you. Now if you excuse me, I'm gonna go check out Carmelo's Twitter after his recent third gold medal.